The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over the neighborhood park. Children's laughter echoed from the nearby playground, blending with the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. Kaito sat stiffly on a bench, his dark eyes fixed on the ground as his fingers nervously fidgeted with a small gift bag in his lap. His black hair fell into his eyes, but he was too preoccupied to brush it away. Beside him, Hana, her blonde hair shimmering like spun gold in the sunlight, was humming softly, her radiant smile effortlessly brightening the scene. For Kaito, this was a moment he had envisioned countless times, though none of those imagined scenarios had come with the weight now crushing his chest. He stole a glance at Hana, who seemed utterly at ease, her white sundress fluttering slightly in the breeze. How could she be so calm when he was about to lay his heart bare? The memory drifted into Kaito's mind unbidden, taking him back to when they were 8 years old. Hana had just moved into the neighborhood, her blonde hair tied up in messy pigtails as she clutched a sunflower plushie. Kaito had been playing soccer with Ren in the empty lot near the park when they first saw her. "Who's that?" Ren had asked, pausing to adjust his scuffed sneakers. Kaito shrugged. "I don't know. She looks new." Hana had been watching them quietly from the edge of the field. When their eyes met, Kaito froze. Ren, never one to hesitate, waved her over. "Hey, wanna play?" She hesitated, but eventually nodded, her small steps turning into a run as she joined them. It didn't take long for her laughter to blend with theirs as they kicked the ball around. Kaito remembered how, at the end of the day, she had handed him her sunflower plushie. "For you," she had said shyly. "You're nice." From that day on, the three of them had been inseparable. Whether it was bike rides through the neighborhood, building forts out of blankets, or sneaking snacks during sleepovers, Hana had become a constant in Kaito's life. He couldn't pinpoint exactly when his feelings had shifted, but by the time they reached middle school, the sight of her smile had begun to mean something entirely different to him. "Hey, Hana," he began, his voice catching in his throat. He cleared it awkwardly. "There's something I've been wanting to tell you for a while." Hana turned to him, her green eyes curious and kind. "What is it, Kaito? You're acting a little weird today." He managed a nervous laugh. "Weird? Yeah, maybe, but this is important." He held out the gift bag with trembling hands. Hana tilted her head, intrigued, and took it from him. As she peeked inside, her eyes widened, and she pulled out a delicate bracelet. The small sunflower charm glinted in the sunlight, a perfect reflection of her favorite flower. "Kaito, this is beautiful," she said softly, turning the bracelet in her hands. "You didn't have to do this." He rubbed the back of his neck, his heart pounding so hard he feared she might hear it. "I wanted to," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "You've always been there for me, Hana. And I thought," he swallowed hard, "I thought it'd be a good way to tell you how I feel." Her smile faltered, and his stomach dropped. Still, he pressed on. "I like you, Hana. I've liked you for a long time. You're amazing, and I couldn't keep it to myself anymore." For a moment, Hana said nothing, her expression unreadable. Then she sighed, her gaze soft but tinged with regret. "Kaito, you're such a good friend. I really appreciate everything you've done for me, but I don't feel the same way." The words hit him like a physical blow. His chest tightened, and he struggled to keep his composure. "Oh," he said, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "I see. That's okay. I just wanted to let you know." "Kaito," Hana said gently, reaching out to touch his arm. "I don't want this to ruin our friendship. You're really important to me." He nodded quickly, his movements stiff. "Yeah, of course. Don't worry about it." She smiled again, relieved, but Kaito's mind was already spiraling. He glanced away, pretending to check his phone to hide the turmoil etched on his face. As Hana rose to leave, her laughter mingling with the sounds of the park, Kaito remained seated. He stared at the bracelet still in her hands, a hollow ache settling deep in his chest. That night, Kaito sat in the dimly lit sanctuary of his room. The bracelet box rested on his desk, taunting him with its quiet presence. Posters of his favorite bands and stacks of books lined the walls, but nothing brought him comfort. He lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling as the day's events played on repeat in his mind. "Why did I even try?" he thought bitterly. "I should have known better. Someone like her, She'd never see me that way. His phone buzzed, snapping him out of his thoughts. It was a message from Rin. "Hey man, how'd it go?" Kaito hesitated, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. Finally, he typed back. "She said no?" Minutes later, there was a knock at his window. Rin's tall frame loomed outside, holding up a bag of snacks and a six-pack of soda. Kaito sighed but opened the window, allowing his best friend to climb in. "Thought you might need some company," Rin said, plopping into the chair near the desk. "You're like a stray cat," Kaito muttered, managing a weak smile, "always showing up uninvited." Rin grinned. "Yeah, but a helpful one. Now spill." As Kaito recounted the confession, his voice low and wavering, Rin listened intently. His usual teasing demeanor was replaced by genuine concern. "Man, I'm sorry," Rin said after Kaito finished. "That sucks." Kaito shrugged. "It's fine. I'll get over it." "No, it's not fine," Rin said firmly. "But you'll get through it. You've been through worse." Kaito said nothing, the faintest hint of a smile tugging at his lips. "Okay, new plan," Rin announced, tossing a soda to Kaito. "We drown your sorrows in junk food and bad action movies. Deal?" "Deal?" Kaito said, cracking the soda open. The next day, Kaito sought solitude on the school rooftop. He sat cross-legged near the edge, a sketchbook balanced on his lap as he absent-mindedly doodled. The cool breeze ruffled his hair, but it did little to soothe the heavy weight in his chest. "Why does it still hurt this much?" he wondered. "I should be used to being ignored, being overlooked." A cheerful voice interrupted his thoughts. "Hey, mind if I join you?" Kaito looked up to see a girl with vibrant pink hair tied into a loose ponytail. Her blue eyes sparkled with curiosity, and she carried a small bento box in one hand. She smiled warmly, as if they were already friends. Sure," Kaito said hesitantly. The girl sat down beside him, setting her bento on her lap. She leaned over slightly, glancing at his sketchbook. "Wow, that's really good," she said, her voice filled with genuine admiration. "Did you draw that?" "Yeah," Kaito replied, blushing faintly. "It's just something I do to pass the time." "Well, you're really talented," she said with a grin. "I can't even draw a straight line." Kaito chuckled softly, her praise kindling a small spark of warmth in his chest. For the first time in days, he felt a flicker of light breaking through the darkness. As the silence between them settled into something comfortable, Aiko opened her bento and started eating. Every so often, she glanced at Kaito, seemingly curious about him. "So," she began, breaking the quiet, "do you always sit up here alone?" Kaito nodded. "Yeah, it's peaceful. No one bothers me." "Well, except for me," she said, grinning. Kaito smirked despite himself. "I guess you're an exception." Aiko took a bite of her food, tilting her head as if studying him. "You're a quiet one, huh? That's okay. I kind of like that." He glanced at her, unsure how to respond. Aiko didn't seem fazed by his silence and continued talking. "I'm new here, so I haven't really made any friends yet. Honestly, I was nervous about transferring, but this rooftop, it feels nice up here, and finding someone like you, even better." Kaito blinked, caught off guard by her straightforwardness. "Me? Why?" She shrugged, her pink ponytail swaying. "I don't know. You seem real, like you're not trying to impress anyone. I like that." Her words hit him unexpectedly, and he found himself feeling both flattered and confused. He wasn't used to people noticing him, let alone saying they liked something about him. "Thanks," he muttered, his voice quieter than he intended. Aiko smiled, her blue eyes lighting up. "No problem. So what else do you like to do besides drawing?" Kaito hesitated, unsure how much to share. "I read, listen to music, mostly stuff that doesn't involve a lot of people." "Introvert, huh?" Aiko said, nodding knowingly. "I get it. I can be the same way sometimes, but I think everyone needs a little company now and then." Kaito glanced at her, surprised by how easily she seemed to read him. He felt an unfamiliar sense of ease around her, as if her presence wasn't something he needed to guard himself against. "I guess that's true," he admitted. Aiko grinned and pointed at his sketchbook. "Then, how about this? Next time you're up here, you can show me more of your drawings. I'll bring snacks. Deal?" Kaito hesitated, then nodded. "Deal." As they packed up to leave, the weight in Kaito's chest felt lighter than it had in days. Aiko's energy was infectious, and for the first time since his confession to Hana, he felt like things might just be okay. Walking down the stairs together, he found himself smiling. Maybe being noticed isn't so bad after all, he thought. Interlude. Hana's perspective. Hana sat in her usual spot in the classroom, her blonde hair cascading over her shoulder as she pretended to listen to her friends chatter around her. Her eyes, however, were fixed on the window, where a glimpse of the school rooftop was just barely visible. A familiar figure caught her attention. Kaito, with his messy black hair, sitting cross-legged near the edge. She couldn't help but smile faintly. That was so typical of him, seeking out quiet corners to lose himself in his thoughts. But her smile faded when she noticed someone else up there with him. A girl. Hana straightened in her seat, her green eyes narrowing slightly as she tried to make out more details. The girl had vibrant pink hair tied into a ponytail, and she was sitting comfortably close to Kaito, talking animatedly while holding a bento box in her lap. From the way Kaito was sitting, his posture a little less tense, his head tilted slightly toward her, it was clear he was at ease in her presence. It was an unfamiliar sight. Kaito rarely opened up to people, especially strangers. The Kaito she knew had always been reserved, often keeping his thoughts to himself. Yet here he was, laughing softly at something the girl had said, his usual guarded demeanor replaced with something lighter. Hana frowned, shifting in her chair. She had always thought of Kaito as a constant in her life, steady, reliable, and always there when she needed him. She had been relieved when he said her rejection wouldn't ruin their friendship, and yet, watching him now, she felt a strange twinge in her chest. Was it jealousy? No, it couldn't be. She had no right to feel that way. After all, she had been the one to draw the line, hadn't she? Her friends' voices pulled her back to reality, but Hana remained distracted, her thoughts lingering on the rooftop. For the first time, she wondered if she had underestimated how much Kaito meant to her. As the bell rang, signaling the end of the period, Hana gathered her things, her movements slower than usual. The image of Kaito and the pink-haired girl lingered in her mind, stirring an unfamiliar unease. Maybe, she thought, biting her lip, I made a mistake. The thought unsettled her, and as she left the classroom, Hana couldn't shake the feeling that something between her and Kaito had shifted, and maybe, just maybe, it was already too late to fix it.